Hey, welcome back to Good Knit Kisses. Good morning. Hey, good morning. I hope you are wonderful today. Today is knitting day. Welcome, welcome to Good Knit Kisses. And thank you for joining me on knitting day, knitting yarn day. And today is the wrap up of the mystery stitch along for Bernat. And if you have been joining me along with the blogging, I hope that you have enjoyed all the different things that I've let you know about how I think about while I'm making the pattern, or not making the pattern, but following the pattern and following along with everyone else. If you haven't, the way I set up my blog for these last three, and then the one that I'm finishing up today and I'm working on, what I do is I kind of go through my experience of each week. And so if you do decide to pick up the needles and follow the stitch along later, it will still be there and you can try it, and the blog will be up and you can see my thoughts and my little mantra. I like to kind of show the mantra as I go along, and which is like basically whatever rings in my head over and over and over, and kind of tips and things that that I use to help myself. Anyway, so I've got the blanket in front of me, and I was going to attempt working on it this morning and showing you guys the cable as I go. I kind of went over some of it on Monday, but today is the appropriate day to really go over it. So I'm going to say hello to everyone. Good morning and welcome everyone. Good morning, Susan and Mickey, Ellie, Ada, Lori, Pam, Bridget. Hey, Joanne. No, I haven't finished yet. And Karen. Hey. So I am, I stayed up late working on it, but you guys, I'm like super delayed. I didn't tell y'all. Monday, I had a child stay home sick. Yesterday, I had an extended phone call after my, I had a conference call after the broadcast yesterday, and then I had to go straight off to lunch with a friend. And as soon as I got out of lunch, I got a call from the nurse's office at my daughter's school that she had hurt her finger and bent it, or maybe either fractured or broke it or tendon problem. And so anyway, so then I had to pick her up and deal with that. And so I didn't get to actually start working on trying to finish the blanket until late last night. We didn't get home until like 8:30 or 9 or something. And anyway, so I worked as much as I could, got a few hours sleep, but I still have the fourth leg of this thing going on still. So I would be done by now and be blogging right now, but that's not happening. And I've had car trouble this morning already again. So if you don't know, this will be the third time in the last 3 weeks. I'm pretty frustrated. So anyway, that's what's going on with me. How are you today? So I'm going to say good morning to the last few people that jumped on here. Hey, Lawrence and Andrea and Stephanie and Lisa, Mona. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm so glad you're here. Raise your hand, say hello if you are, if you have been following the stitch along. So this does a cable. You're adding the cable on clue 4, week 4, and you're making, yes, my tears for all my troubles this week. My troubles are small. It's fine. I'm just experiencing delays. I mean, we're all here and we have our health. So I am reminded, we have a member from our church that I don't know, but I was praying for her nonetheless last night because really sad stuff going on with her. And she has a baby who's due in 10 weeks, and she is, they declared her, so she went in because she had pneumonia for 2 weeks. And then she has an 8-month-old baby, and she's due in 10 weeks with her next baby. And then, so she had to go in the ICU because of her pneumonia, and they declared her brain dead last night, but the rest of her body is functioning. And so so I look at that and I'm like, this is not my problems are not big. Anyway, so I'm praying for her. Her name's Tia, if you want to pray for her too, and her family. So that is on my heart today. I am so glad that you're here, and I'm going to try and finish this. I'll explain it as I go and then kind of just keep going. So if you're interested in just watching me knit, I'm going to use this time to kind of do that, and I'll talk through it in the beginning, and I'll just kind of keep going until I sort of run out of time because I need to do it. And I realize the value of the Knit TV. It's kind of cool to have this, this slow knitting. Has anyone, yes, thank you, Ada. Thank you. Has anyone watched, before I kind of move on, has anyone watched the Slow TV, the Norwegian, I think it's Norwegian, yeah, or Scandinavian, slow knitting on Netflix? They have a few episodes, they're like these marathon episodes, and the first one kind of does like a lot. Like, anyway, I found it really nice to just sit and do this blanket, stitching it along and like watching the Norwegians, and they had captions on there so you could see what they were saying. But it was, you know, I'm having to like read it, you know, so if you can't read while you're knitting or crocheting, then it's hard. So I kind of caught, I didn't catch everything, but I caught a lot. I was able to take my eyes off for a little bit. So that was fun. So, and then they have like this sheep, this world record thing that they're going for, and I haven't finished it. So if you have, let me know. And don't tell me if they won or not. But they go from shearing the sheep, which is really cool. They go from they shear the sheep by hand, and then they spin it. There's about 6 or 7 spinners, and then they start knitting up a sweater, and they're supposed to do it within like 5.5 hours or something, trying to beat an Australian world record. So it's really cool. They call it slow knitting TV, or slow TV, slow knitting TV, but it's not slow because the ladies and one gentleman were like super fast. So, but of course it's slow in the real world. I mean, it's not racing like a, you know, car or something. So, hey, good morning, Joan. It's good to see you. All right, so I'm going to get started. I'm going to show you the blanket, and then I'll kind of turn it around so you can, then I can get really to it. I want you to see what this blanket looks like. So this is the corner, and this is the bottom part, or I'm sorry, this is upside down. This is the top, and it had us join the right side. So this is actually the right side going up this way, and then we did the left side, which is here, okay. And then you pick up stitches and add this, pick up stitches and add the left, and then you do the top. And when you start picking up the stitches, you pick up the side of where this ended. So like this ended here, and then you pick up these stitches and then start adding. And so this is where the cable ends, and then the new cable begins. And then you keep going. And so I have to weave in my ends here, and then weave in my ends on this other corner over here, and this is what the other corner looks like. See that? And so one of my dilemmas to figure out is, it doesn't say this in the pattern, but this little part, because of the last cable, it does this kind of thing. So I'm actually thinking I might want to just tack this down here so that this little thing is not freely popping up. See? And so I may tack this down. Like when I weave this in, I'll probably kind of get that to where it's secured down, you know? What do you think? Do you think I should make it secure? But this is what they look like when they come together. So this cable comes all the way down, and so this one ended, and then this is where this one ended, right here. And then you just bind off. So if you have questions about it, because I won't get to the bind off on that corner, on the other corner, so you work until you get to the last pickup stitch, okay? And that's on a right side row, and then you're on the back here, you're on the wrong side, and then you just, so this was attached last, and then you turn it over and you purl bind off. So instead of doing knit stitches as you bind off, you're just purling as you bind off. And then it ends, and you cut your yarn, and then you go to the next side. So I'm gonna swing this around. So this is the beginning side, and I will tell you that this is how this is how tight this is. I don't like this stitch, the way that it worked up in this yarn. I think it would look lovely in another yarn, but it just didn't work out well on this blanket. And then it's like really tight in the in this cable here. So the cable's fine. I mean, I can kind of pull and tug on it, but it's this part. So because the rest of it works up pretty nicely. This works nice here, but this beginning one is a little pillowy, but it's fine. It's a cute sample blanket, and then my son will enjoy it. And actually, I told my son about it, and his teacher is pregnant, and she's pregnant with a little boy, and we actually gave her our old high chair, and I was thinking. He said, we should give it to my teacher. So I thought that was very sweet. So we'll see if he really wants it or not, because he was cuddling on it last night. So I got a couple of yeses. I'm assuming that means to tack it down. Let me see if I can get a little closer in which I'll be able to see your comments better. Whoops. Oh, sorry. This is really close. How is that? Is that better? Okay, so the way that I do this is, I'm going to show you more dramatically. This is kind of how I keep some of my things. Let's get a couple of these stitch markers. Oh, by the way, you can use, I'm using cable needle that looks like this. This is the one I've been using. I prefer this one. It wasn't that sweet of him, Joanne. So this is another cable needle that we could use. This is another cable needle. So I don't like this one as much. I really don't enjoy using it. This one's okay for certain things, but if I have to work off the stitches, I kind of like this big hook here, and I can load it on with the long, and then when I pull it off, it comes off easy with the little short hook. It just depends on how you have to work it. So that's that. I like these little stackable containers. I use that a lot. Okay, so here's my little tip on here. So it's an 8-row repeat, and because of this repeat, I actually have been liking to do this. I'm going to add these to accentuate it, but 6, 4, 2. So on the 8th, so whenever I finish my row, I've been just moving this one up, but I'm just going to show you more dramatically. 6, 4, 2. Okay. So whenever I say this was on here last, and I've just completed, this is a row 1 that I just finished over here, but after I complete row 8, which is on the back side here, there's this purl bump in the front, and so I just, I take my, I take my stitch marker and I just hook it in the front of that purl bump, and then I show myself where that is, because there's certain things that happen on different rows, and I know, like, if I'm further up here and it looks like I just see this long one set of purl bump and I'm on the right side, I know that it's going to be a row 3, because all the even rows are going to have this purl bump, and so I just come along and I go 2, 4, 6, 8, and so I can tell. Lori, so you said you didn't care for the pattern and yarn. You crochet a little tight, so yours didn't lay flat. You took it apart, and either going to use yarn on a large loom or try doing the marshmallow blanket. Oh yeah, reuse that yarn. If you don't like it, yeah, go ahead and do the marshmallow crochet. I think you'll really enjoy that. And in fact, you can alternate with the stitches. So like if you have more of this main yarn and this yarn here, your third, the A and the C, then you could maybe like do 6 rows of A and 3 rows of B and then 6 rows of C, and alternate your blanket that way. And so that way it'll be proportional to how much yarn you have. That might work for that pattern. So, oh, Stephanie, this is your first time on the computer. You don't like the interface. The comments don't refresh well. Yeah, they don't really refresh well or something. Yeah, you're right. I think they do it better when you're watching the replay, but not when it's live. But that's just kind of how it is. Sorry. Okay, so I just completed a row 1, and all it is I knit the first 2 stitches, and then I purled, and then I just knit all the way to the end. And then let me undo this stitch, and I'll show you how to unknit. So if you decide, oh, I didn't pull the right amount, let me show you. So I pulled 3 yarns together. This is knit 3 together, and so I'm just going to take my my left needle and put it through here and pick those up, and then I'm going to slide this out and pull my yarn out. Okay, and then that just undid that last stitch. Okay, this stitch here is what actually was on this cable, I mean on this right needle here. Okay, so it is it's 12 stitches across, and you work 11 to get this border, and then the 12th one is used to adjoin to your main blanket. So I just slip this over. It's purlwise, so we just slip it over, and then we're going to knit 3 together on row 1. That's 1, 2, 3. Put your needle through all 3 of these, and then knit that stitch as 1. And then it gets all bunchy, and so I just kind of adjust and play with it like that just to get them all evened out so it's not all weird and bunchy. And then the way to turn is you're just going to be doing this. You're not actually moving this blanket around much. It'll slowly move down as you load up these stitches. These are all going to get joined up and have this next to it. So now I'm on the wrong side, and all the wrong side rows are the same way. You just knit the first stitch. Okay, and then you're going to purl. Let's get that out of the way. Oh my gosh, Carol says someone in her condo lit a bag on fire, a garbage bag, and filled the hallway. So you had a fire in your building. Are you guys, everyone okay? I'm sorry that happened this morning. That's awful. I mean, obviously you're on here right now, but hope everything was okay. Was it intentional, or was it just like by accident? Okay, I'm sorry. I was distracted by the whole fire comment from Carol. The last 3 stitches are knit. And then that's how you get this edge here. This makes your, it's not really a selvage edge, it's your decorative garter stitch border here. Okay, so then I just flip this over again, okay? So you don't flip your whole blanket. And then I start working my, my second right side row on this stitch pattern, which is a 3rd row. And so I'm going to knit the first 2 and purl, and that's how the stitch pattern is for the edge. It's not a regular garter stitch pattern, but that's how it is for this one. And then I'm going to knit until there's 1 stitch left, and then we're going to join. And every other time that I join, I either join 2 stitches or I join 3 stitches. So that's, if you're counting how many stitches you're picking up from the blanket, it's actually you're either joining 2 stitches or 1 stitch. That's how fast the progress is alongside here. Because 1 stitch is always from the border. So I just pick this one up and place it on, this is basically a big grand stitch holder. This is a big long circular needle. You can see the cable is through here, if that's really clear. There's actually a cable in there. And so I just slip it onto this stitch, this circular needle here, and go ahead and count 1, 2, and knit these 2 together. Okay. Work those stitches out and then flip it over. I'm so glad to hear everyone's okay, Carol. And then again, this is a wrong side row, so it's going to be the same as the other ones. So if you're joining me, this is Knit TV this morning. This is Slow Knit TV, Good Knit Kisses style. If you want to pass along as, I don't know, hashtag Knit TV GKK, I don't know. Knit 3 stitches on the end. And so you guys are welcome to just chat on here. And, you know, y'all chat amongst yourselves. Tell, you know, say if you've done the knit or crochet version of this, if you want to try the stitches individual on the loom, if you're loom knitters, because we're going to try and work that up. I'll probably do a tutorial on how to work this on, and not the whole blanket, but the individual stitch patterns on my YouTube channel, just to show you how to do the stitch pattern by itself. Okay, so again, I'm on a wrong side row and I've got my border done, and now I'm knitting along. I'm on row 5, and if I don't know I'm on row 5, I can stop at any point and go over here to the side, and I look and see my stitch marker here, and then I see this little purl bump here, and I see this little purl bump here, and I know this is row 2, 4, and because I'm on a front side or right side, I know that this is row 5. So that was row 4, and so now I'm on row 5. And so on row 5, I knit 3 together. Row 1 and 5 are exactly the same. So I knit till 1 is left, put it on the circular needle, grab 1, 2, 3. I have to really get in there, especially because how thick this yarn is and how tight of a knitter I am, obviously. Pull that off. Work that. And I'm not really sure why that's so loopy. I'm having an issue this morning. Let's see what's the deal. Did something happen? I wasn't paying attention. Okay, so this is just stretched out. I haven't been having that issue, but we'll do that anyway. So I've got 1, 2, 3. Not really sure why I was doing that. Hi Tammy, good morning. All right, so now I'm on the wrong side rows again. Knit 1, purl with till there's 3 at the end. Okay, and then after we're done with this one, we're going to get to the nitty-gritty. Let's do the cable on row 7. That's the where all the magic happens. Now, I'm on the last section of clue 4, where I've got these on the right side. I don't know how I dropped these stitches, but anyway, so I'm on the bottom edge, so the cast on edge, and so this is the last one. And so the directions here is I have to cable to the back, and I had shown on Monday how to cable to the front, so now you get to see me cable to the back. Let's turn this over. All right, so remember, you can tell which row we're on because we're counting all these little purl bumps here. So 2, 4, 6, because that just happened. So now I'm on row 7. Work those stitches here. 1, 2, 3 for the border. So that's knit, knit, purl. Okay. Now move my stitch back because I'm just knitting from here on. So I need to not do the purl, because if I leave it in the purl position, then you'll accidentally make a yarn over, which is making an extra stitch, and then you'll have a gap and wonder why. So we're going to pick up our cable needle. I like to use the longer part to pick up these first 4 stitches, and then I just pull them off, and then we're working to the back. So I lay that at the back of the work, and I'm going to go ahead and knit this first stitch. 2, 3, 4, and then I've got one more left. That's going to be one that goes on this needle here, and then I'm going to work my cables. Now what I discovered is this may fall, so I can attempt to let this sit here, or I can just go ahead and pull it off and put it on here, and then just kind of put a needle aside. Okay, if you're on a bus or something, I suggest just sticking your needles through one of your stitches and letting it hold on. Okay, now I'm going to bring my cable needle up from the back. Make sure to not twist it. Okay, so it's been laying down gently, and it's kind of hard to see, but because I started from this direction, the first stitch to be worked is this one right here. So we've got 4 stitches. I'm going to work this stitch. It's going to appear very tight, so I'm going to twist my needle. This is my right hand needle. I'm going to twist it to the back and put it through that first stitch, and I'm kind of just holding it out a little bit with this hand, and now I'm going to yarn over and knit. It doesn't matter if it's on that very point there, and then you're just going to pull that off. So now I've got it on my right needle, and then I just kind of slide it off that back needle. I'm going to go in here, make sure not grab 2 loops. I'm going to knit this again. So I'm knitting the first stitch, the second stitch, here's the third, here's the 4th, and then that's all done. And then I can just kind of hook that needle back somewhere over here. A lot of times I like put it on my clothing in front of me. And then, so now I don't need this just yet. And now I still need to work these stitches. Now because I'm on this row here, I know that the last time I had a right side row, I knit 3 together. And so now I'm knitting 2 together because it's every other one, if you remember from earlier. So I'm going to grab these 2 stitches and knit them, and this row is obviously going to be tight because we did the cable on it, so it's all bunched up together. See how it's all bunched? Because I just did this. All right, and then it'll start to even out when you flip to the other side. You're going to grab your other needle, and this is where we make our same wrong side rows again. Knit 1, purl 3 to the end, and knit those. Lots of pausing happening. I'm sorry, are we having network issues? It's kind of a semi-cloudy day over here, so I don't know if that's the interference. Knit these 3. Okay, so now I've done 1 full pattern, row repeat, and then I can move up one of my old stitch markers here because I don't really need them anymore, and then I can move it right up here to the top now that I have done that completed 8th row, and it's ready. So I can start my next one. Does that help anyone? Get my yarn here, get some more. My yarn's in a bowl like way over there. It's kind of tight knitting quarters today. You're having grainy in and out? I'm sorry. I guess the replay will be better. I'm not really sure. Facebook does some weird things sometimes. We were doing something, Carol and I, on the Good Knit Kisses page, and like several videos weren't letting her have the link to them up to a certain date, and then like 2 days later it was working. It's like weird. All right, now I'm on to the end. and I'm on a row number 1. I'm going to knit 3 together. Dun, 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 dun. See how tight that is? Knitting 3. And I'm sure part of it is when I was in the doctor's office last night with my daughter is when I added these stitches in. I might have just been a little stressed, and these are probably just super tight too. So that's adding to my problem today. Oh yeah, I was having a bit of an issue. All right, so now we're going to go to the back. And knit this and purl. So I had issues yesterday where I started this and I did 3 whole pattern repeats, and I did not cable to the correct side. I cabled to the front instead of the back, and I realized about 3 of them in, I thought, oh my gosh, I don't think this is right, because I was doing it from memory. And sure enough, I needed to fix the cables, which meant I actually had to frog back, and so having those stitch markers on there helped me. So I was able to frog back up until right after one of the cable, or right before one of the cables. Joanne. Solar winds are causing geomagnetic interface with satellites and such this week. Or it's the gremlins. I love it. I love your... I have no doubt. Yeah, it's causing the issues. It's just funny. I love how you explained it. Or the gremlins. Oh my word, Gremlins movie. I haven't seen that in forever. It makes me wanna watch it. Anybody remember the movie Gremlins? Don't feed them after midnight. Don't get them wet. Don't expose them to sunlight. Aren't those the rules? Okay. All right, and then we've got, let's see, I'm on that. I just did a row 3, so I'm gonna knit 2 together. I wish I could have some music playing. That would be fun. I found out the other day my friend got in trouble because she had done a live Facebook video, and she's doing like this workout thing, which is really fun. She went to her church parking lot and and had like a workout session with ladies, and they all brought drumsticks and sat on the ground and did like some core training where they like you could do this with knitting sticks, I bet. But anyway, and so she did this drum beat thing to the beat, and did this exercise like raise your legs, go to the right, go to the left, you know, and all that stuff. And but she was playing a song, and so Facebook told her she had to take it down. It wasn't on a page; it was on her personal profile. But Facebook got after her for the music. But I had actually got to see the video. I was like, "Oh, Liz, I loved your video," and it was really a cool way to exercise the way she was doing it. And she's like, yeah, Facebook said to take it down. So I guess I think I caught it when it was live, so, which is kind of odd for me because I don't catch everybody's. In your case, melted wires? Do you have melted wires? All right. And then we're on row 5, so I'm going to knit 3 together? Almost said 5. Wow, can you imagine knitting 5 together? I mean, I guess for the right project. Oh. So what is everybody working on? What is your works in progress this week? Carol, are you making any more jewelry? And Joanne, have you enjoyed picking the needles back up again at all? I think you were attempting to test out some of this stuff for Bernat Stitch Along on a little bit on needles. Oh, I'm inspiring you to work on your blanket. You should totally work on your blanket, Bridget. You know, those S-Loom ones, I mean, that's one that it takes forever, and so you really have to take a bunch of breaks, but I would do this. What I do is, especially for those S-Looms, I'll make myself put on a video, and I'll just say, okay, I'm gonna do as much as I can do during this movie, and then I'll put it down and work on another one. Like, just do like a goal thing. Like, I'm gonna watch a movie today, and I'll watch one in a couple of days, and then get back to it. Okay, so I've started going too far. 2, 4, 6. I'm actually on the 7th row, so I'm going to show you how to tink or go backwards. Unknit. See that? So all I did is where a stitch is knit, I just go into this loop here for the stitch, and then pull it off of this needle, and then pull the yarn out. So that's how I did that. All right, so now I'm ready for my cable needle. Oh, you guys, someone's doing Tunisian and another person's doing a Grafghan. That's cool. Oh, Tunisian Grafghan. That's really cool. I haven't done Tunisian yet. I really want to learn. So let's pull these off. Go to the back. See, just simple like that. Remember, this lays flat back here, and it gets kind of bunched up like this. And so you have to work this stitch first on this little short end. That's another reason why I like this J hook here, this cable needle that has a J, because I can remember, well, I put it on with the long side, I need to come off the short or whatever. So that kind of helps me remember if I lose my place, or I can't tell if it's twisted or not. And then I just work these stitches here. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then I can slide this needle to the other one, or I can set it down. Let's see what happens when I just set it down instead of sliding it to the other side. I'll pick this up. Remember, pick it straight up. And I'm gonna work this first stitch here. Pull that off. Work the next stitch. Pull that off. Third and fourth. You have a planned pulling for Cal, Ada? Well, that's cool. Lori, you did your S-Loom blanket? Oh, wonderful. Got the football season here, huh? All right, so now I've slipped that onto the other needle, and I'm gonna knit those together. It's knit 2 on this row. You know, so I just stuck my cable needle back here in my work, so it didn't go somewhere. But last night I put this, well, depending on what you can do, but I put this in my chest. This is sticking in my shirt, and this was sticking outside my shirt, so it was just kind of hanging on. And then up at the doctor's office last night, I was sticking it through my knitted sweater in front of me because it had a bunch of yarn overs. So it was really convenient. So it was kind of fun. You finished a few cowls and an ear warmer. Are these gifts, Bridget? And Ada, are you going to keep your planned pool cowl, or are you going to give that as a gift? Or sell it? I mean, I don't know. Do any of you guys sell your stuff? So I posted my progress on this blanket, my Instagram, which updates to my personal profile. And I had a person ask me, who's a friend who doesn't knit or crochet, and she wanted me to make one for her. And she, I don't know if anybody saw that post, but I thought it was funny because she was like, first of all, I don't like when people like write a bunch of question marks and exclamation points next to them, like 5 of them, and then they're like, yeah, and I don't want you to teach me because I don't have the time. I'm thinking, okay, yeah, you just didn't respond to me in the way that is really positive for me. So I wrote her back in the best way I could, but I was like, yeah, no, I'm not going to be making one for you. You're thinking about what to do with it. And then this one's yours, Bridget, but you have a bag of stuff to donate, considered selling stuff. Oh, yeah. Well, you got homeless shelters that always need stuff, and, consider, donating to battered women and children's centers. People don't always think about donating to those places. They're knit goods, because a lot of people think of homeless or going to NICUs and stuff, but if you have some, pretty girly and very sweet things, that one thing to do would be donate to a battered women and children's center if you know where their main point of receiving is. I would call them first, but okay, so I'm gonna move my stitch marker here, 2, 4, 6, 8. So I know this is that one, and I just finished a row 1, and I'm gonna work 3 stitches together. This is annoying. Okay. I usually don't keep that on that side. It's always on the left, so it's a little distracting. Plus I have to keep moving this needle. No jewelry making yet, Carol? But you're thinking about it. You were at Michael's yesterday and there was a new wire wrap book. Ooh. Very tempted to buy it. Oh, I would like to make some of those really cool knit mesh items. I've seen where people make like a wire mesh apple or something, or like just like a rounded object, but the way it's knit like intrigues me, and it's all wire, and of course the wire bends. Whoops, it needs to be purled. So it's got to be very delicate, so that you don't bend and crimp it. Anyway, I'm very interested in finding out how people do that. It's so pretty. It's definitely pieces of art. I think that would be cool to do, just to make my own like really cool displays, or even like screw them up on the wall as like a 3-dimensional design or something. That'd be neat. Carol, do you ever make earrings? I know you do the bracelets and the necklaces. So anyone who's still joining us, if there is something that you have been wanting us to blog on at Good Knit Kisses and talk about more, like, have you enjoyed me walking you through the mystery stitch along, like that kind of blog? Or do you prefer just free patterns? Do you like to see stitch patterns with charts and graphs? I really like to know what you like, so we can maybe, provide something like that in the future. You'll be looking up women's shelters today and calling to donate. Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome, Bridget. Yeah, and anytime you call them, a lot of times they'll say, hey, and if you can bring feminine products or, other things, that would be that would be good. And I think those comfort dolls would, like if anyone's trying out a comfort doll, those would be good to take there too, because the kids, are pretty traumatized. And so if they've come from a battered home, and so those would be good to receive as well. And they're always needing feminine products. I know our sorority, we used to do that. We would donate those kind of things to the women's shelter in Fort Worth. Brandy, you're asking what I'm working on. I'm working on the Bernat Mystery Stitch Along blanket. This is the final section. And then other things I'm working on, I've got to finish. Actually, I have a lot of projects to finish. I think what I'm going to start doing is I've got to finish blogging on the things that I have promised, the patterns and then the videos that I've already filmed recently. And then I really want to go back to a lot of the UFOs. I think we need to do like a UFO thing. Like, what if we need to do like a UFO event where everybody goes through their stash and finds a UFO. Does everyone know what a UFO in your stash is? Like a whip is a work in progress, but a UFO is an unfinished object. So you're like, I'm not sure what it is, or it was done so long ago. It's basically a whip that turned into, I don't wanna. So for whatever reason, it could be that the person is now gone from your life, whether that be through death or some other reason, or you just got bored or it was too hard. But I was really inspired by watching the Knit TV. There was a lady on there that she loves to finish other people's projects. And I thought, that is so good, having, she even will finish someone. She doesn't even care if she gets it. She gets satisfaction out of finishing other people's projects. And I thought, that would be amazing if there was somebody who just loves to do that, or like a few people, and you could just, or maybe you do like a knit exchange and be like, I'm tired of this project. Can anybody, oops, I knit that and I shouldn't have. Does anybody want to trade projects? Wouldn't that be kind of a fun, like a pen pal with your projects? Yeah, UFO November. Would that be really fun? Maybe we should do like a GKK UFO group or something. Did anybody want to do that? I don't know. That's probably taking on too much. Joanne and Carol are probably laughing at me or crying. I don't know. Like Kristen and her ideas. I'm always getting these ideas, but I thought, man, it's discouraging because when I was going through all my projects, trying to clean up for selling our house, I found several UFOs and I went, oh my gosh, I have this knit scarf that I started, I'm sure it was 3-4 years ago. And I was doing these hearts. And so I worked the point and then I worked the heart and then it came up to about here and then, or right here. And then I worked the point again. And so it's a series of hearts. And, but it was knit. And so it was very thin. And I kept playing with it. I'm like, is this a thing? Is anybody going to like this? Should I stop? Should I start? And I was using a fingering weight and it was kind of making it look like a lacy heart. And so I don't know. I had a lot of self-doubt about my project. And so I left it alone. And then I have a weaving project that I started on the Martha Stewart loom, to do this diagonal weaving on the really big scale and do it to show people. And so I did the big sample and it's sitting there waiting. I can't tell you how many projects are just sitting there waiting for me to get to a point to film it. And a lot of them I'm like, what was I doing? Pam says, I've been trying to take care of my whips. I'm telling myself finish it or frog it every time you pick one up. Oh, that's a good thing. Finish or frog it. That's so good. It would be nice in that group is if you were if you wanted help and say, should I finish this or should I frog it? Or maybe what we need to do is an event in our in this page, actually, Good Knit Kisses page, and just make an event page for UFO. That would actually probably work better. And then everybody post their UFOs and do a hashtag finish or frog it. UFO finish or frog it. Wouldn't that be fun? Is that too long of a hashtag? Yeah, all your UFOs are projects you started for yourself. Well, all my UFOs are projects I started for you guys. Like, and I had a lot of shame in admitting that, but now I'm like, you know what? That's life. It happened to me. It happens to other people. I can't be the only one, right? 2, 4, 6. Okay, so now I get a cable again. Yes, you made lots of earrings, Carol. That's awesome. You love that idea, Joanne? All right, so we need an event page. So if it's the month of November, you know, the way that Facebook does it, you set a date. So it's like, well, we set the date for November 30th and just start talking about it and doing it right now? Or do you set the date? Because you wouldn't want the due date for the 1st, because then that would make everybody think that they're late. Right? Would that work? And then by Thanksgiving, you will be thankful. Well, that's the Thanksgiving in the States. Canada's already had their Thanksgiving. A lot of people who join us on here are Canadians or Americans. But we do have other people from other countries. We've got Australia who joins us, the UK, all over, actually. You're new, what's UFO? Unfinished object. So that would be a project that you started that it could be a month old and you just put it away and you're like, I give up. Or it could be like years old. You know, like there was a lady on the Knit TV and what the heck did I do? Did I do something wrong? That just seems wrong to me, but it's not. Okay, my cable to me was looking really weird. Why are my cables looking weird to me? I don't know why. Anyway, anyway, on the Knit TV thing that I saw, there was a lady and she had sent in they were actually talking about this museum, and it was about this. It was a UFO museum. It was all knit objects. I don't know if there was crochet, but there were knit objects that people sent in that were their projects that they never finished. And one lady sent in basically a sweater that was like nearly done, but it was like 10 years old, and she had been trying to finish it and never did. And she had the sleeves sent in and she had the main body sent in, and apparently the body was mainly finished. One of the sleeves needed to be knit a little longer, the other sleeve was knit too long, and she's like, all she had to do is like undo a few, some of these rows and then bind it off, and then it just needed to be stitched together. And so this lady was finishing it for her. So she's like, I get joy out of finishing people's projects. She only does, now she said she only did one project at a time, but later on it sounded like she had 3 going on, or maybe she had a line of UFOs from other peoples that were waiting. And they said, well, what are you currently working on right now? She said, nothing. I'm not working on anything. If I'm trying to finish someone else's project, I'm actually not making it myself. I'm not making any myself. I'm moving my stitch marker. Yeah, lots of dust. Some people keep them in bags. I have a basket of UFOs from my grandmother, and I have been trying to decide if some of them I should actually attempt finishing or frame them. Finish or frame it. So like if I wanted to do a shadow box of the knitting, should I? And many of them have the needles on there. One of them was an ear flap hat. And it's really different. I've never seen anything like it, the way it's done. It's like this box hat, and I'll have to show it one day. I think I've showed it on a video once before, but it was like a live broadcast on Periscope or something, and I was showing all of her stuff. I don't even think that video is around anymore. Okay, so that's that. Okay, I'm on that. Okay. I'm like, which row am I on? I'm on row 1, so I need to knit these 3 together. You notice I'm not looking at my pattern. It's because I've gotten it memorized. 8 rows. I never thought I could say, oh, I've got 8 rows memorized and it involves a cable. But it's only 12 stitches, so I think I'm okay. You like the idea of shadow boxing it? Yeah, and one of them has her hand notes on a dishcloth. So one of them is like a half-finished dishcloth on her stitch holder. And then it's got the extra yarn and everything. Part of me wants to make it, but what I may do is get some more yarn and attempt the pattern and make my own for the house and frame her work and not actually use her work, but have it all framed. Maybe it would be if I do it right, maybe it would be a fun one to put in the kitchen. A shadow box in the kitchen. I don't know. You found some of your grandmother's projects? I think what I might do is get some lavender. I don't know if that's appropriate or not, but get some dried lavender and put it inside the shadow box, because sometimes that yarn tends to smell after a while, the old yarn. And I guess, I don't know if that would prevent mold or anything. Does anybody have experience with shadow boxes or putting something with yarn in there? Finish your Frog It Fridays. Carol! Oh my gosh, that's a really good idea. Of course, some people go, well, it's such a big project. I have to, you know, if I can't finish it, do I have to frog it, you know? But I think we would need to reassure people who would push the panic button, right? Because we don't want anybody panicking. They're like, no, don't undo your sweater or your blanket. It's going to take you more than a week to do it. But that would be the day to like address UFOs. I mean, Thursday has a U in it, so UFO Thursday, I don't know. Show us your UFOs. I don't know. It's just kind of fun, right? Carol is a genius. I love it. I think it's fun when we all get to cheer each other on and be like, you can do it, you know, because I think like probably we would show our, if we got the shame away from us, we would show our UFOs and then be like, oh, I'm just not sure if I should keep this, you know, maybe we could do like a poll on it. Should I keep it or should I frog it? You know, should I keep going or frog it and finish it or frog it? And have people vote, you know. And then maybe it would encourage the person, hey, I can finish it, you know. Maybe I can do this. Or maybe if you're like, I don't know what to do with this. I don't remember what it is. Maybe you can help me figure out what to do with it. That would be kind of fun too. Well, I think my neighbor across the street's mowing. Oh. Stop. Stop. Finish it or frog it Friday, like where I show mine stuff. Oh, you mean do the social media on Monday with the Q&A and then Friday? And oh, you're talking about combining it with my broadcasts? Oh, frig equals frog or friggin' frog. Mikey in the crochet crowd has these frogs. He's in Canada, and near his house, he's in, well, he says where he's from, Walkerton, and he has these frogs that make noises, and you can hear them in his tutorials sometimes, and he's like waiting on frogs to stop, and I was thinking about that, the frickin' frogs. They're like doing this chirping. If you don't know what frog is, it's when you have to rip out your work and you go backwards and it's like rip, rip, rip it out. So it sounds like ribbit, so it sounds like frog. 5, we're on row 5, knit 3, 1, 2, 3. You notice how I go back and check? So I don't look at my pattern, but I do look at those stitch markers. I gotta tell you. So, is anybody on here liked Knit TV? Oh, y'all, it's those solicitors again for campaigning to vote. Vote for me, vote for Trump, vote for Hillary, vote for Johnson, vote for this, vote for that. Vote, vote, vote. Early voting just started. Oh, I'm on the back side. Aha. I'm doing the wrong thing. Let me unknit. Early voting started yesterday, and I did not go because I didn't go. Because it's like torture. It's like Chinese water torture. I don't want to go. I will go, but right now, I'm being stubborn. I want a kumbaya moment with our country right now. And this is just... Anyway. Do I ever get cramps in my hands? Occasionally. Actually, this is a good time for a break. I pop my knuckles, which is so bad. I need some lotion. But I might rub them, or you can ice them, or I just take a break. But I like to kind of stretch my hands every now and then. You thought your phone was ringing, Ellie? So anyway, yeah, see my hand. Oh my gosh, they're so bad, y'all. Like, I've done a lot of hand washing. Sick kids, I always like massively wash my hands. I don't think I'm OCD about it, but I realize that when my kids are sick and my hands are like so chalky bad, I'm like, okay, apparently I like to wash my hands a lot when they're sick. So, sorry, I'm like self-conscious. They're on film, but obviously I'm not self-conscious enough because I'm not manicuring my fingers. Okay, what row am I on? Okay, 2, 4, 6. Oh, we're gonna do another cable. Look how fast that cable came along. Y'all have just been chatty Cathy's with me. And this will be where we ended after this because it is almost 9:30, which is when I need to stop. I've got somebody who I think is going to come help me with the house thing. So I told them that I would be done at 9:30, so I better stick to my goal. Oh, goodness gracious. See that one? Move it to the back because that was a purl stitch. And so I need to move my working yarn to the back to make my knit, or I will accidentally add a stitch. Okay, moving this, knitting from the needle, knitting from the cable, put that down. 1, 2, 3. Your phone's off the hook, Dawn. Oh, is it a sweater, Marcia? No, I'm making a blanket. I'll show you in a minute. I haven't got as far as I'd like to, but yeah, so I need to do 2. And then I'll finish this 8th row, and then I'll call it a day, well, as far as our broadcast goes. And I'll show you what I worked on, because I want to end on the, so where I start the first row, repeat. This is row 8. I'm adding on an edging to this blanket, Marcia. Sorry, I have an alarm that keeps popping up. When you see my hand disappear for a second, it's because I'm telling my phone to stop telling me. I'm missing it. I'm missing a thing right now. I had to, this is my priority right now. So. Okay, yay. All right, and just to show you how I like to stop this particular pattern so it doesn't go away on me. If I had the tip holders or whatever, I would do that, the point protectors. I just go in a few stitches Normally, right now it's not working for me. I should go in a few stitches and put in my cable needle, and I might hook these up, the first couple stitches here, and then put in my needle here. And I just stick that in my bag like that, and it always just stays. So that's where I am. This is the rest. It just shows you how much further I need. This is where my ending is, and this is where I'm stopping for the moment. So I don't have very much further to go, and hopefully you guys will see my pictures on this soon, and I'll be writing up the blog. It takes me a while to write the blog, so I'm not as fast as you think, because I'm going back through in my head, like, how did I feel, and you know, and finalizing some of my thoughts. So let me show you the blanket. Let's put some yarn. So we were on the, oops, can't even, hold on. So I'm trying to spin it around. It's not working for me. Okay, this is the pattern. So this is the corner, and this is the, well, this is upside down, but this is one of the stitches that we worked on. And then this is week 2. So this is week 4, or clue 4. This is clue 3. This is clue 2, and these are upside down. And then this is clue 1. This is the first week. And so this blanket is, I'll show it in the camera here. Hey, so this is the blanket. This is what the corner looks like. Isn't that pretty? And then here, yay. So anyway, I'll have to take some better pictures, but like I said, the week 1 is really kind of bunchy. Not necessarily my favorite, but I really did enjoy doing this project, and it's highly textured, which is fun. I know my son will enjoy playing with it, either that or he will give it to this new baby of his teachers, because he's being very generous with mommy. With mommy's hand knit project. So anyway, yeah, so oh, Martha, have ever tried a project that uses crochet and knitting combo on? Yeah, I've done like a knit blanket and then added an edging, a crochet edging and stuff. So yeah, isn't that pretty, Joanne? So it is going to be bunchy though on that first one, and kind of a little bit on the third. So the middle is really still cinched in. It's almost like it needs like one more column or 2 columns of that stitch repeat. So anyway, I can't really exactly add that in. But anyway, well, thank you guys for joining me today. I hope you had fun. I know it helped me pass my time. So I'm sorry if I missed your comment and I didn't respond to anything that you wrote. If you have questions for next week for knitting, or if you have any anything that you'd like to see on knitting day, then just let me know. Write replay and make your comment or question. Y'all have a great day. Love you all. Send me out with some hearts. Bye everyone. Coffee, coffee. And bye.